Umeme as a utility company has been in the country offering services for over 20 years according to the concession that they signed with government of Uganda. And right now the government is looking for about 1 trillion shillings, so close to 1 trillion shillings, to ensure they buy out Umeme in terms of the assets and the investments they have made over time. But there has been mixed reactions, especially from the public who are anxious in terms of the money. Where is it going to come from? Because different figures have been flying in. Some from the Auditor General, others also getting information from the Attorney General in terms of advice on who should be giving the correct figures. Tonight we have Dr. Frank Ssebowa, who was once the CEO of ERA, that is the Electricity Regulatory Authority. Would like to know from you, the public is boggled by what's going on. How do you think this should have been treated?
I think the best solution would have been for all parties to agree on an auditor in advance if they did not trust what ERA has been doing, which would be unfortunate because the law and the implementation both require ERA, the Electricity Regulatory Authority, to pre-approve whatever investments Umeme makes, and also to ensure that when it's being done, they follow up and monitor. And I think they have competent people who can do that.
The other day, ERA was saying that, in fact, the buyout should be about over 400 billion shillings, yet Umeme is demanding for about 800 billion shillings. And then, according to the Auditor General, it's about 780 billion shillings. Who should the government believe?
I think by law, ERA is the authority on that matter because they follow it from before it's invested, when it is invested, and they have the depreciation rates as we go down the line. So to me, ERA is the competent authority. But if there was doubt that it wouldn't be the competent authority, the parties concerned should come on the table and say, we are getting Auditor X, and everybody agrees that whatever Auditor X says will carry the day. But you can't keep having figures flying all over the place and so on.
Because according to what the auditor, the Attorney General was advising government, especially the Minister of Energy, they were saying ERA has any obligation to approve any modifications in the process of Umeme's capital investment in terms of different modifications. Maybe if they want to buy a new transformer, if they want to extend a line, they can only post-verify.
Unless the law changed in the recent past. But the Act is clear on that. They need to approve it. Capital expenditure. In fact, they must allow it. If they don't allow it, you don't do it. All right? Umeme couldn't do what ERA has not approved. That's according to the law, I know, the Electricity Act.
So do you think what's happening is a complete confusion and this leaves a lot to be...
Unfortunately, this has happened in this concession many other times before. That concession allowed for a review of various clauses every 5 years. But whenever it comes to that, you have squabbles left and right. Instead of getting technical people, clear-cutting decisions made with informed data. But we've always been in this sort of thing.
It's now that the government is trying to borrow money to buy out, and they have not yet even gotten that money.
Yes.
They got to know, or they stopped Umeme from investing much 2 years ago. Do you really think this is how things should be working out?
Well, it depends on the concession they signed. I think that concession said that 1 year before they would stop investing. But then, for the consumers, including me and you, the interest is that 1 year when you don't invest, how do you maintain the system? Government should have allowed for an interaction such that Umeme is going and UEDCL or whoever is coming is on board so that the investment continues, the maintenance continues. I think you are seeing some of the problems. The load shedding has increased somehow. That's because there's a gap in investment.
So how should they have handled, like, if especially the issue of load shedding, how should it have been sorted? UEDCL, you know, the staff
should have come on board much earlier, in maybe observer capacity, or even things to do with the technical things like this. You don't just cut off, it's not you switch on and off.
Okay.
The investment must continue. UEDCL should have come in more slowly initially, such that by 1st April, they are on board. They are ready to go.
Thank you so much, Dr. Frank. That was Dr. Frank, the former boss of ERA, that is charged with ensuring that they follow up with the investments that Umeme has been making in the country. And the Auditor General is supposed to be coming out with a report that is tomorrow. Back to you in the studio.